Hey there everyone, today I'm going to show you all how to install the top end of your bullet train motor. This will include attaching the piston to the crank arm and installing the cylinder body. To start off, we will want to install the piston. You can do this either by putting the piston in the cylinder body first or attaching the piston to the crank arm first. I will show you how to install the piston with it already in the cylinder body. When installing the piston, you will notice an arrow on top of the piston. This should be pointing towards your exhaust port. Once you are ready to put the piston into the cylinder body, make sure the gaps in the rings line up with the pin in each groove. Now, gently slide the piston into the cylinder body while squeezing the rings evenly as you do so. Now that we've done that, we can install these parts onto the motor. To install these pieces, we will start by putting the crank connector bearing into the crank arm. All that you need to do now is slide the bearing in place. Now we can grab the cylinder body with our piston and line up the hole in the crank arm with the holes in the piston. While installing the cylinder body, your intake manifold should be on the side with the drive sprocket, while the exhaust port is on the side where your starter is. Start lowering your cylinder body into place while keeping the crank arm lined up with the holes in the piston. Once you have everything lined up, you can slide the piston pin in and fully lower the cylinder body into place. If you had trouble with that first method, I'll now show you an alternative way to install everything. For this method, we will start by installing the piston to the crank arm first. Now you'll want to line up the crank arm with the holes on the piston again, so that we can push the piston pin into place. Once you have that pushed in, we now need to install the second retainer clip before we can put the cylinder body in place. Grab some needle nose pliers and squeeze the retainer clip so you can slide it into the groove in the piston hole. Remember that the retainer clip needs to be far enough back that it sits nicely in the groove. Now we can take the cylinder body and the gasket, put the gasket in place and slide the cylinder body on like we did before. Be sure to evenly compress the rings as you slowly slide the cylinder body in place. Once the cylinder body is down all the way, make sure the gasket is straight so that you don't accidentally break it while trying to screw it down. Now that we have everything in place, grab a 5mm Allen tool and the engine stud located in the bag with the spark plug. Take both washers off the stud and put them in place with the lock washer on bottom. This is where the screw will come down and tighten to the engine. Slide your washers in place here and drop the screw through the top. Now we need to tighten the stud down and repeat the process for the remaining three. For the last three studs, remember to have the lock washer on bottom and tighten in an X pattern. Once all of your studs are tightened down, be sure to go over them again with a torque wrench to ensure they are properly tightened. They should be tightened to between 8 and 10 foot-pounds. Congratulations, your top end is now installed and you can move on to the next video showing you how to install the motor on your bike.